All right, I am going to go over for you. This is going to be a really detailed show. I think you're going to appreciate this one. You know that Police Chief Ricky Ramie, the vulgar and vindictive police chief in Lynn Haven, who has been such a problem for so very long. Why did he resign? Why did he retire early? Well, there was an investigative report. But why was this report so damning when previous reports always covered for him? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to read you a lot of. I worked on this all day today. All right, so I think this is going to be a really good breakdown that I think that you'll appreciate. All right, so before we get started, while people are joining us, let me thank a few people here who help us do this. Our sponsors.
Strong, effective leadership. 3 words that could mean the difference between prison and your freedom. I'm Al Saulene, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 850-215-0628.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
All right, we're going to get right to it. You probably already know that last week, was it last week? I might be late to the party, but I'm going to explain it like you haven't seen before. So I'm about to post an article. I'm actually going to post it tomorrow. You're going to see my draft. So if there's things I need to add to this, I'm going to be looking at the comments. All right. And if I've made a mistake, I don't let you correct me. Okay. Haven't you heard? When I'm wrong, I don't give a shit. I'm just wrong. So don't correct me. But if you want to add anything, I'll let you do that. I'm sorry. I'm already getting some. All right, let's just get to it. I'm just going to read to you what I've done today. Okay. And I'll try to take a look at the comments, but I'm going to be reading, so I'll have to do that later. But I'm not going to post this article until tomorrow, so I can still refine it. Chief Ramie and Lynn Haven's House of Cards. Here we go. After Hurricane Michael, Lynn Haven built itself an $18 million city hall. Everybody knows it was much more than that. FEMA and the insurers were supposed to carry most of the load, but they only sent $10.5 million to the city, or so they say. Now taxpayers are left holding the bag for at least $7.5 million, all for a palace they couldn't afford that sprang from the insatiable imagination of city manager Vicky Gaynor and police chief Ricky Ramie. I'm going to try to make this even bigger for you so you can read along with me. Okay. Finance director Kiki Roman says the disaster fund has been drained. Commissioner Sam Peebles warns of tax hikes, service cuts, or both. In other words, while the city was running out of dough, the police chief was living large in the penthouse office on the second floor above a town gone broke. They turned City Hall into the kind of place where the walls whisper secrets nobody wants to hear. And amid the luxury, Chief Ramie didn't know he was already Humpty Dumpty, awaiting his fall. The golf cart caper. By the way, I have written this in the style that I wrote the prologue for Mayor Margot Anderson's book, Hurricane Michael. It's in the same style, the same tone, kind of the same format. The golf cart caper. Hard to believe that a golf cart would be his undoing. The same golf cart Mayor Margot Anderson used after Hurricane Michael to rush water and supplies to people after the strongest storm to hit the United States in 50 years. In July, a citizen filed a complaint claiming that Ramie was enjoying the golf cart for personal use, just like Bay High's principal had been caught doing. The internal investigation confirmed it. Quote, multiple witnesses testified that Chief Ramie stored a city-owned golf cart at his residence for personal use, depriving the city of its use for an extended period, the report said. Ramie's excuse was that he was on call 24/7. The investigator didn't buy it. Quote, for that argument to stand, the city would have to allow all sworn employees unfettered access to city property, just in case they get called out. And that idea is unsupportable, if not absurd. End quote. This time, the witnesses didn't play along with the charade. Obviously, they had had enough of Ramie's brazenness and double standards. The findings of this investigation report read like a rap sheet. The golf cart was the hook, but Attorney David Marcy's report stacked violation after violation. Code of conduct. At a Bay Haven school meeting, Ramie stormed in, guns blazing. He called the school a nuisance. Witnesses described him as aggressive. The report said he violated city and police policies that require civility. Abuse of authority. He issued policies that contradicted city law, giving himself hiring power reserved for the city manager. He rewrote nepotism rules to suit himself. He also accused acting city manager Jennifer Hodges of the felony crime of witness tampering for ordering the investigation into his golf cart use. That's par for the course for Ramie. Unauthorized spending. He signed a police department contract with Bay County Sheriff Tommy Ford. Sheriff Ford signed this contract. Sheriff Ford signed an illegal contract because he and Chief Ramie have been buddies for years. And this IT support that Sheriff Ford would provide for the city of Lynn Haven, it cost the city nearly $70,000, despite the department has no authority. According to the report and to the ordinances, the police department has no authority to enter into a contract like this. As a matter of fact, even the city manager doesn't. If it exceeds $35,000, even the city manager, who's the only one who has the authority to spend up to $35,000 without commission voting on it. But if it's over that, the commission has to vote on it. Don't you think Sheriff Tommy Ford knew that? Why would he sign that? There was a crash cover-up. He crashed, Ricky Ramie, a city-used car, fixed it himself, and only admitted it. He's always crashing. Do you notice that? I mean, Popo School is supposed to teach you how to drive fast. You know, you got to have a laptop to your right, and you be able to scroll and run stuff and call, you know, and sometimes have, you know, chicks in the car with you, you know. But he's always crashing, even when he doesn't have anyone in the car with him. You know, how did he pass the Popo School driving stuff? Because they got to do some real maneuvers. He's always crashing, sometimes more than once in a day. He fixed it himself and only admitted it after employees reported him. When pressed for details, the man who testified in courtrooms, Chief Ramie, suddenly had memory problems. The report said Chief Ramie's varying memory strained his credibility. Another mysterious health episode, perhaps. Secret bank accounts. The investigation, this is the most shocking one to me, also uncovered troubling questions about city funds. It indicated, quote, several bank accounts used by Chief Ramie in the police department's name. Now, the report didn't go any further than that, but put a pin in this bombshell revelation because details are not forthcoming yet. What do you think of that? Several bank accounts used by Chief Ramie in the police department's name. Why isn't there more about this in the report? David Marcy, the That's the fakakta attorney, by the way. This time he did a good job. We'll get to that. And then also the report indicates interfering with the investigation, which is what he did when he crashed his truck into the white Mercury. You remember that? On New Year's Eve, 2023? When the heat turned up, Ramie tried to derail the inquiry by invoking the police officer's Bill of Rights. But that shield doesn't even apply to police chiefs. The report said the move violated his duty to be truthful. Furthermore, Ramie, quote, aggressively and persistently attempted to prevent the investigation into allegations of misconduct against him. The walls were closing in. The protection racket is finally over for Ramie, and the reckoning must have felt like a double cross. Vicky and Ricky just don't rhyme like they used to. And the victims and ghosts of false witness have moved beyond simply haunting the Cat 5 conspirators. Now they're deposing them, and it's the truth coming out. They can thank the deposition of city engineer Chris Forehand for that. The passage of time has betrayed them. Time, in a sense, is an appellate judge realigning reality. The seismic shift at City Hall also has a lot to do with timing. Voters are on the march with recall petitions against Mayor Jesse Nelson. Signatures beget signatures, and with them come momentum. The kind of pressure that has a way of infusing courage into a workplace that too often looked like a collection of beleaguered Stepford wives. Or maybe it was something simpler, like Vicky's revenge. A history of wreckage. Ramie's fall didn't come out of nowhere. He's been running red lights on accountability for years. On New Year's Eve 2023, he closed down a bar in Panama City Beach and plowed his truck into a white Mercury at Miss Newby's parking lot. It was 3:30 in the morning. He fled the scene. A citizen chased him down and snapped a photo of Ramie's driver's license. The state attorney's office confirmed it was a crash with injury. But I don't think it was. I think the state attorney's office is wrong. But it was a lot of damage, and nobody gave a flip about the guy's car. It's a black guy anyway, who cares about? Nobody gives a damn. There's a black guy parked his car legally, was enjoying the night, getting ready for New Year's 2024, and the police chief crunches his white Mercury and absolutely crushes it. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of damage. Nobody cared. That was one of the worst parts of the story to me, actually, by the way. But the fix was in when he got caught. Ramie's defense lawyer, Waylon Graham, entered a not guilty plea and pressed for a jury trial. Lynn Haven City Commission played it down in a pre-meeting, brushing it off as Ramie's. It was his own vehicle. It was off hours. City manager Vicky Gaynor sat on the arrest for weeks until the story broke. Where did the story break? Say it. On the Bernie Thompson show, complete with security video. That's when the commission itself learned about it, not from their police chief, not from their city manager, but from a watchdog journalist. The punishment? Ramie got a 25-day suspension without pay, and he had to turn over his badge and his gun. He didn't even get to keep a bullet. Just for 25 days. No charge, though. He wasn't charged for giving false statements to the government, to the FHP. No charge for tampering with evidence. And the city's local TV news, so-called public-private partners, downplayed the crash as a fender bender. The sentencing hearing was broadcast on YouTube. A stern rebuke from the bench, a shrug from prosecutors, and a city ready to hand him back his badge. You remember that? The happy return. By March 2024, Ramie was back in uniform, and Mayor Jesse Nelson crowed about it like a salesman at a pep rally. Remember Nelson, when Ramie came back, how happy Nelson was? He said, "It seems as if things are going well with the transition coming back. It seems like they're happy he's back, which is a good sign for our city that our officers are happy to be working here, happy to be working with him. That means they're going to be happy as they're serving our community. The word was happy by Mayor Nelson over and over. This after Ramie had fled a crash, lied to investigators, and walked away with little more than a slap on the wrist. For years, Mayor Nelson and City Manager Gaynor, they had shielded Ramie, even citing the 14th Amendment. You remember that? Arguing equal treatment while granting special treatment. And Gaynor promised it was Ramie's last chance. It wasn't. Lawyers, guns, and money. The irony is rich. The city's report was written by attorney David Marcy, a Tallahassee partner at Rumberger Kirk and counsel to the Florida Police Chiefs Association. Around here, he's known as the fakakta lawyer. You know, I've always been talking about that fakakta lawyer. His job's always been to provide cover. But just when you think you know a lawyer, he goes straight. You ever notice that? Just when you think you know a lawyer, boy, they go straight on you. And that's what Marcy did. This time, the attorney fee demanded a scalp, and Marcy gave him one. He wrote it all down, the golf cart, the bank accounts, the intimidation, the abuse of power. He didn't hold back. Years earlier, Ramie himself bragged in federal court, I was in the federal courtroom, I saw it, that he'd given a gun to former city manager Michael White out of the locker. Just some gun they confiscated. Hey, Mike, I got a Glock 40 caliber. You want it? Yeah. I don't know if it was a Glock, actually. But he later put it to his wife's head. I was in the courtroom and I saw that he looked at the jury while he was testifying against James Finch, by the way. The jury's like, do you have any other witnesses that Finch did something wrong? No. Not even the guy Finch bribed? No. Did Finch bribe somebody? No. The only witness they had was Michael White. And he told the jury, he said, you held a gun to your wife's head? And he's sitting there in handcuffs, Michael White, on the witness stand against Finch, the only witness the government brought. And he said, yeah, but the gun wasn't loaded. That was anyway. Then when Ramie was talking about that, when Ramie was on the witness stand during an evidentiary hearing, Ramie added in federal court to the judge, he said almost casually, Ramie said he'd given guns to judges too. I don't just give it to the city man. I've given guns to judges. Now, if I had been defense attorney Guy Lewis, I would have probed that. I'll never forget what Guy Lewis said. He said, I don't know why you'd say that. He was so shocked. Guy Lewis said, I don't know why you'd say that. But, I mean, yeah, I think Judge Walker called Guy Lewis, if not the best, one of the best defense attorneys he's ever had in his courtroom. But I'm going to go on a limb and say Guy Lewis should have said which judges, but he didn't. So we can only guess. Yeah, that was crazy. In a city where favors a currency, Ramie dealt in firepower. Questions about the $30,000 last seen with Ramie and Sheriff Ford only deepened the stench. But as long as he had friends in high places, nothing stuck. The secret stayed buried like backpacks full of Benjamins. Sheriff Ford's shadow. Ramie wasn't just protected inside City Hall. He had Sheriff Tommy Ford at his back. The two worked together at the Bay County Sheriff's Office, and Ford shielded him long after. 2 months ago, Ford tipped his hand. As citizens moved to recall Jesse Nelson, the sheriff insulted Lynn Haven voters who were trying to get rid of the mayor. That he, Ford, and the police chief Ramie helped install. They helped install Jesse Nelson by interfering with the election against Ellen Fields by digging up his opponent's expunged arrest history years ago in another state. They dragged that out. They interfered with that election to get Jesse in there. And now Sheriff Ford's pissed that you want him gone. That's his guy. Sheriff Ford accused Mayor Nelson's critics of being negative and spreading misinformation. He said it's not who we are. Ford doesn't want the secrets of Gaynor, Ramie, and Nelson to be revealed when they're finally gone. Kiki's slow burn. Through it all, finance director Kiki Roman was under the gun. She'd watched the books bleed red and waited for her chance at the big reveal. For years, she must have felt like she was killing time and it was dying slowly. But her chance finally came. Remember, the mayor was in another country after the big secret church meeting where he had guards out there say, you can't come in. And then the next day he takes off and leaves the country. Nobody knew why or where until Commissioner Perno blurted it out. The mayor's out of the country. The meeting was almost over. That was great. But that was her chance for the big reveal. And by then, though, City Hall had begun to look like the Capitol in the Hunger Games. And the districts were fed up with the opulent queen's grasp of the city's finances and public records. When Kiki finally laid out the bad news, drained disaster funds, $2.8 million in annual debt, reserves slipping away, the timing was perfect. The city couldn't cover for a crooked police chief while the taxpayers were bled dry. For residents, it was like being tapped by loan sharks. Every payday, the city reaching into their pockets, promising next time it'll be better. But it never was. They were left paying the tab again and again, nickel and dimed, until their pockets had holes. The resignation. On September 25th, the city suspended Ramie without pay. Within the hour, he retired. No defense, no farewell, just gone. The investigative report found Ramie to be untruthful multiple times. He interfered with the investigation, even going so far as to make false felony accusations to cover it up, all while accusing others of being malicious and vindictive. The community has long known Ricky Ramie as vulgar and vindictive. The fakakta lawyer eventually conceded. He eventually got it. Here's the ending of the article I've been writing today. Reality and consequences. Ayn Rand, it's not Ayn Rand, it's Ayn, like mine. Ayn Rand once wrote, you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. In Lynn Haven, reality was ignored for years. They ignored the debt, the favoritism, the arrogance of a police chief who thought he was untouchable. And he's not alone. Residents and voters have endured corruption at the highest levels for too long. Their patience had grown weary. Hope for accountability snuffed out over and over. Any light at the end of the tunnel always turned into an oncoming train. But this time, however, it was Chief Ramie standing on the tracks. And in this tunnel of truth with nowhere to turn. And that's his legacy. That's his legacy. Can you imagine? And they get really upset about this, you know. All my life, the people are going to look up articles, call me a crooked guy. Man, let me just tell you a couple of things. The Taj Mahal, the new city hall that they say was $18 million, that I suspect when it's over, when it's all said and done, when the truth finally comes out, when there's a real audit, when this commission stops trying to make sure you don't see how bad it is, I'll bet you it wasn't $18 million. I'll bet you it was closer to $28 million. This is why. This is one reason why Sheriff Ford and the FBI and Chief Ramie and Chris Forehand and Vicky Gaynor, this is why they tried to frame Mayor Margo Anderson and James Finch. Do you know that while they were plotting and scheming to build this Taj Mahal that looks like a damn, what's that hotel I always call it? I gotta look, I'll pull your comments up. What's that hotel I always call it? Somebody help me out. Why am I forgetting? Oh, La Quinta. It always reminds me of La Quinta. So, you know, while they were plotting and scheming to build this palace, James Finch was saying it shouldn't cost that much. It shouldn't cost that much. Why do you want to? How much was the police office and the kitchen and the clock? I mean, oh my God, unbelievable stuff. And so you may or may not know this, but Chief Ramie was secretly recording the mayor, Margot Anderson, all the time, always trying to catch them, trying to bait them into doing something, anything illegal, recording all the time with a wire, an FBI wire. They never got anything illegal. Nothing. And so James Finch, a contractor, called for a meeting to say, let's talk about this city hall you guys are going to build. Why don't you come to my office? So one member of the commission could come, his friend Margot Anderson, the mayor. She came. The police chief, who she trusted at the time, he came, and city manager Vicky Gaynor. And the purpose of Ricky and Vicky were to catch contractor James Finch and Mayor Margot Anderson doing something illegal. They kept trying to give them crumbs to bite on this. But before Chief Ramie walked in to James Finch's office to talk about this building, that Finch warned them, you're going to spend too much money on this building. What are you doing? Because it came out in court. It's in the documents. It's in the evidence. Ricky Ramie, before he walked in, he's wired. And he's, hey, Larry, can you hear me? Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2, Larry, can you hear me? I'm going to catch him doing something illegal, okay? Okay. Nothing. Instead, Finch and Margot lost the argument. They tried to throw him in prison. And the city ended up with a city hall that's going to end up being about, just wait until the rest of this comes out. See, this is why Sheriff Ford is so desperate to keep the mayor in there, because the spokes in the wheel are already busted. Vicky's gone. Ricky's gone. The people who were secretly recording and informing, they were FBI informants. The FBI informants are gone. Because understand this too. The special agent at the time, Larry Borghini, was coming to the end of his career, and he was close with the head of the sheriff's office, public trust unit, Jimmy Stanford, Major Stanford, and Sheriff Ford. The three of them are the ones who did this. And now they're gone. Now there's a new special agent here. Now they're new special agents now. It's not the same old crew. I'm not holding my breath for accountability. Are you? But it's not those guys. It's not the ones who were covering it up. What is going to be found? I sometimes wonder if that flood that happened, don't you wonder if there are any documents that have been destroyed? Oh, it was a major flood, major flood. You should see City Hall in those back rooms. We saw some of it in the security videos when they would sneak Vicky Gaynor in and leave with boxes of stuff, just her own stuff, though, of course, after hours. All right, I'm going to look at your comments. Now, I got to tell you this. I'm not going to read it. No, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to go into it right now. But you can read it on the Beacon of Bay County's page, because those broads are always scooping me, and I'm fed up with it, to be quite honest with you. You know, it's so funny, the faux outrage. Sometimes I say things just so that the haters can pretend that they're upset. Oh, he said broads. Yeah, you should hear what else I say, Jack. But yeah, if you want to read it, the Beacon of Bay County, they don't take a break. They just keep working and plugging along. Citizen journalists. And you can read what Mayor Jesse Nelson, he has put out his official response to the recall. And he has given the reasons why he should not be recalled. You got to read it. It's a doozy. I can't believe there's this one thing in particular. I'm going to save it because I'm going to go over it soon. But there's one thing in particular he wrote on there. that is demonstrably false. And I can't believe he did it. I mean, it's almost like he put his own evidence in his response. This is crazy. But then again, he always cracks me. What's going to be his downfall? What's going to be his legacy? See, this is the problem with conspiring to steal and to hurt or to intimidate or any of these things. This is the problem when you do that. Over time, often the truth will betray you, and that will be your legacy. Yeah, but I got a pole barn and some land. I got a kickback. Millions, maybe. It's really not worth it in the long run. What is your soul worth? What is your character worth? What are you willing to do? And if you do this among other snakes over time, you don't think they're going to turn on you? Opportunists are only as loyal as their next opportunity. And that's what you're seeing now. Oh, what am I doing? I'm rambling on. I don't need to be. All right, I'm gonna break away. But I do want to thank, of course, those of you who make this possible. Oh, and by the way, if you want this article, this is important. If you want this article, I'm going to post it tomorrow. Here's how you can get it. It takes 20 seconds to subscribe to the weekly email, and sometimes I do special things like this. Bernie.substack.com. That's how easy it is. It takes 20 seconds to get a free subscription. Bernie.substack.com. That's where you'll be able to see the article. And if I'm not going to pull it back up, but I read it earlier. And you'll be able to have it. Also, I want to thank, of course, the Unknown Patriot. And those of you who have been trying to reach me, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. You don't understand how bad I feel about this. Even close people to me are frustrated with me. But look, I got to try to make a living, I got to try to pay for the Liberty Lounge. This is how you can get my undivided attention. You can book a call with me. And the way to do that is to go to calendly.com. Screenshot that. You'll get my undivided attention. You can book an hour or a half hour with me. And those of you who have done it know that you get my undivided attention. You're paying for it. Calendly.com/Bernie Thompson. It can be about a tip. It can be how do I get public records. It could be you just want to talk to me about what outdoor gear I like to take in the woods. God, I can't wait for that call. Anything you want to talk about. All right. That's important. I thought there was another one. Oh, I need to thank those of you who are patrons. As little as $5 a month. Crowdfunding is how I do this. It's a big way of how I do this. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you for those of you who throw a tip in the tip jar. As little as $5 a month, the best money you can spend on the internet. Where else would you get this from? Patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. It's easy. It's anonymous. And you can quit at any time. All right. Did I get it all in there? I think I got it all in there. All right. Thank you. And I will see you soon. This article again, Bernie.substack.com. I will post it tomorrow with links and everything.